is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
It is the least live episode of the KC Laboratory presented by Emprise Bank, member FDIC. Yes, we are recording this. I don't know the last time we didn't go live for a lab, Matthew.
Is this why you had to say most live when we had recorded this earlier week show, is so that you could like do this double joke? No, was this like a setup for like days upon end? Okay.
No, I just decided to do it.
Okay. Well, thanks for asking how I am. I'm glad there's a lot of college football going over these holidays because it's nice to get a focus on some good football as we lead into the Chiefs game when they get to take on the Las Vegas Raiders. That hopefully goes a lot better than the Eagles, but it's been nice that, you know, some action was going on and we got football every day leading up to it. Didn't have to spend too many extra days, you know, tormenting myself over what the Chiefs game against the Eagles was, Greg.
Yeah, no, it's been nice to kind of move along. We all know that we got the holidays coming up. The Chiefs have a division rival on the schedule, and I, for one, really appreciate Kent's multi-day bit that he has now performed on this podcast.
The multi-day planning is what's more impressive to me.
Yeah.
You guys either don't give me enough credit for improv or give me too much credit for planning.
No, it's definitely the first one. I don't give you enough credit for a lot of things, actually. It's not just him.
No, see, that was good improv. That was good. That's how you do it, Kent.
That was pretty good. Like, I have notes. You don't like my transitions is what I'm hearing.
No, your transitions are the best. Please keep doing them.
Usually pretty good.
Thanks, everybody that's hanging out with us. I hope you had an absolutely wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you're having a great Black Friday. It's obviously we're still going to get you ready for Chiefs Raiders. It's a big divisional game. Chiefs looking to bounce back after obviously a really tough loss, falling to 7-3. Have to kind of continue to win to keep up with the Baltimore Ravens if they want to get that one seed and be in line for the Arrowhead Invitational. But we're going to start on the defensive side of the football against the Las Vegas Raiders offense because this is a defensive team now. This is what we do because this is a defensive team in Kansas City, as we so aptly defined. I think Maddie did before the Dolphins game. But obviously, they've had some quarterback changes. That's the first place to start, I think. Aiden O'Connell is the quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders now. They really haven't had good quarterback play all season. I think Aiden O'Connell has been fine for a rookie, and there's some things that are interesting about him, I think, but he's not the overly dynamic player, and I think trying to pressure him and trying to get after him, even though he's going to try to get the ball out of his hands and they're going to try to get the ball out of his hands quickly and just out, period. I think just trying to rattle a young quarterback is going to be a key to this game.
This Raiders offense hasn't been very good for the majority of the year, right? They're just not a strong unit right now. The offensive line's kind of shaky. The wide receivers outside Devontae Adams have not fit together as well as they would have hoped.
Yeah.
You have dealt with the quarterback, and Josh Jacobs hasn't been as good as he was supposed to be for them. And then you get to the quarterback issues. They have not made it easy for a Jimmy G or now for Aiden O'Connell or for anyone stepping in there. So I think it's a really hard spot. I think it's a really hard spot for a quarterback that probably doesn't have the most physical talent of any quarterback in the NFL. Aiden O'Connell is not the most physically gifted guy. And now he's going out there. He's getting asked to execute all these different kind of high difficulty things without the best talent around him. It's led to a lot of struggles for this offense. You know, they're bottom 6 in the NFL in EPA. They're pretty far down there in success rate. They don't move the ball down the field. They don't particularly hit explosive plays frequently. It's an offense that just doesn't have a lot of bite to it.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It just doesn't feel like a team that's putting it together. Yes, I feel like they're a lot scrappier since they fired Josh McDaniels, since Antonio Pierce is out there, but I don't know that that's necessarily translating into, better offense. Maybe we're seeing Josh Jacobs getting a yard and a half more per run than he was before. Aiden O'Connell is certainly getting the ball out quicker than Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo was one of the longest time to throw players in the NFL. Part of that was the Josh McDaniels offense. They're still running a lot of those same staples. Aiden O'Connell is still a guy that's going to hold on to the ball a little bit here. And he's not necessarily taking care of the ball particularly well either. I mean, he's thrown 3 touchdowns, thrown 6 interceptions in 4 games as a starter here. So it's not like he's just lighting the world on fire. He's got a worse completion percentage than Jimmy Garoppolo did. I get why they made the move to Aiden O'Connell, because at this point, Jimmy Garoppolo is, sunk cost. So go out and find out what you got with the rookie here. But I think as we watch this team, as we see them maybe become a little bit more scrappy of a football team, it's not on this side of the ball. And so, yeah, Devontae Adams is still over there. He's one of the best wide receivers in the league again this year. But as we're seeing time and time again for this Chiefs defense, they're able to shut guys like that down. And Aiden O'Connell isn't necessarily the type of guy that's going to be, pinpoint accurate in placing the ball in these sorts of spots and taking advantage of some of these Chiefs cornerbacks when they're playing as well as they are.
Well, and I think Aiden O'Connell, as the sample size gets a little bit bigger, you've started to see teams try to find ways to make more mistakes. He threw 3 interceptions against the Miami Dolphins. And he's been under 60% completion in the last 2 weeks, but also, interestingly enough, it's under 60% completion. He's also allowed and afforded Devontae Adams 2 of his 4 best statistical outputs this year in the last 2 games. Devontae Adams had more than half the receiving yards for the Las Vegas Raiders against the New York Jets 2 weeks ago. And then he had another strong game this last week.
Checks out.
So, I mean, it's just, Book might be starting to get out on Aiden a little bit more. I think if you take away some of the quick game, I think good things can kind of happen for you. Like I said, you kind of force him to hold the ball a little bit longer. Good things are going to happen. He's not going to be able to create as much. He wants to be in rhythm. He's pretty good at a play action. He kind of reminds me, like, stylistically, some of the ways he plays, very Goff-ish. Jared Goff, to me, is just, when I watch him play, I see Jared Goff a lot. But yeah, Josh Jacobs, he's kind of been a disappointment, but I mean, the Raiders are going to want to try to run the football a little bit if they're going to beat the Chiefs.
They haven't ran the ball as often as you would think for the Raiders team. They've been a lot more of like a pass-heavy team. I think they're pretty much like league average in terms of like run rate. They still do go under center a lot. They play a lot of heavier personnel. So like they'll put the fullback out there a ton. I think they actually lead the league in like I formation 21 personnel stuff. So like they do it a lot, but they're hitting a lot of play action. They're hitting a lot of old school traditional drop back game from under center. It's a different offense than most teams run in the NFL. It very much is old school to early 2000s New England Patriots kind of stuff without the run game to back it up. I do think if they had the run game to back it up, it would maybe look a little bit fresher. It would look a little bit better, but they haven't found a way to marry everything together yet. So I think there will be some things that the Chiefs have to adjust to on the defensive side. They are going to have to find an answer to the heavier personnel. They're going to have to find an answer to I formation stuff. There's been times in the past under Steve Spagnuolo that I formation runs, specifically versus the Raiders, have kind of been a problem. They've struggled to fit stuff up against a fullback. I think they've done better across the board is the run defense and on defense this year. So I'm not saying it's going to happen for sure, but it is going to be a unique challenge that they haven't seen as much this year of slowing down, whether it is the run game or the passing game kind of coming from under center with the heavier personnel stuff and how you handle the one-on-one matchups that creates for Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, not Kendrick Bourne, but the Jacoby Myers, like for whichever one of those guys they have out there, one of those New England-Oakland Raider combo.
The one they paid.
Yeah, they paid for there. When I watch the Raiders play football, I watch a team that when I watch Josh Jacobs with the ball in his hands, I see a guy that like is on the cusp of breaking something like at all times. So I'm not going to be surprised if he comes out and looks better than we're saying here. But when you go back and you look at his stats, he has only had 2 games this year above 4 yards per carry. To put that in perspective, Isaiah Pacheco has 6 for this Kansas City Chiefs offense. And we talk about all the time how ineffective the run game can be. This Raiders run game is bad. He averaged negative yardage against the Bills a couple of weeks ago. Just was not able to put something together there. They just struggle to execute at this point. So it's a little different than maybe some of the other teams that we've talked about from a heavy personnel standpoint, where when they go into 12, when they go into 21, the Chiefs counter with base, and oh man, it's a little bit terrifying on the outside. Who knows what's going to happen? We've seen them get beat up. The New York Jets did an awesome job of beating them up out of heavy personnel and lived in it for most of the game. This is not that. This is not that level of play that we're going to see. This is not that level of execution that we're going to see. And frankly, I'm worried about Devontae Adams. I'm worried about, Jacoby Meyer on the outside. I'm worried about Hunter Renfrow in the slot a little bit, even though he hasn't been super effective this year either. All those guys is capable, but all those guys have been capable all year long, and they just haven't executed. They just haven't been able to put it all together. I don't suspect that, yes, I know they're playing harder under Antonio Pierce. I don't suspect that this week, all of a sudden, we're going to see a team break the mold, change the way that they're able to execute, and start, kind of getting there at a higher level than we've seen all season long so far.
And yeah, their run pass ratio was insane last year. They dropped back 41 times. Did the Raiders, and that's not included. They attempted 41 passes is actually a better way of explaining it. So I think they're gonna try to run the football a little bit more this week. I genuinely think they're gonna try to run the football. They got to. I know it's not been good, but they're gonna try. I think they're going to try to generate some of that balance there, because I don't think that they want to get Aiden O'Connell against this defense in a just let's chuck it around the yard 41 times again. I don't think that's a successful formula for them to win. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
Thanks, everybody that's hanging out with us. We hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving and are having a great holiday weekend. Talking Chiefs, Raiders. Anything you want to talk about, Matthew, on the defensive side of the ball before we move on?
I mean, yeah, we're talking about how we think they're going to try to get into the run game a little bit more. Yeah, they should. I'm sitting here looking at this Chiefs pass rush, and then I'm looking at the Raiders offensive line, specifically how they're anything they're doing, but specifically how they're pass protecting it. Boy, oh boy, I would not want to drop back and pass against what the Chiefs have right now, right? So I think they do need to rely on the run game. This is a pass rush that is going to turn it up. They're going to bring pressure. They're going to make it difficult for an already not good offensive line to try to block them. And they are giving up pressure after pressure after pressure along the offensive line. The last thing you want is a rookie, especially Aiden O'Connell, who will hold the ball. For a guy that isn't the most physically skilled guy, he does try to make and create plays. He will do that. He is a gamer. So he'll hold the ball a little bit and give you a chance to get pressure on him, to sack him, to hit him. And that's not what they're going to want. So I could definitely see Josh McDaniels try to really dig deep in, try to shorten this game by running the ball. It's a game they probably want to get out of relatively quickly, because I don't think they want to drop back and try to throw the ball against the pass rush.
You said McDaniels. I know you did. I know you didn't mean.
Oh yeah. Well,
Bo Hardigree, the new offensive coordinator, play caller.
Yikes!
Yeah.
Yikes! Yeah,
I knew you meant.
No, I look at this team on the offensive line. Colton Miller might be back this week. Reportedly, he was close last week, and so he might be back. That's a big boost, because, frankly, it falls off pretty quick after that. The rest of this offensive line, though, is just not of the quality that the Kansas City Chiefs defensive line has seen for most of the year. This is one of the lesser ones, and I know that we said that a couple of times this year, and almost every single one of those occasions, Kansas City Chiefs have come out and made life really, really difficult on the run game and the pass game for the opposition. I expect a lot of similar performances. Chris Jones, coming off a really, really good game against the Philadelphia Eagles, is going to be licking his lips looking at this offensive line. George Karlaftis, Mike Dana, Charles Omenihu, Felix Anudike-Uzomah might even, be able to get back in the mix a little bit more than we've seen him lately. I just think that this offensive line is primed to be, kind of bodied by a really good Chiefs defensive line here. It has done so well against so many better offensive lines. They're either going to have to run the ball. The Raiders are either going to have to run the ball at an effective clip, or they're going to have to get the ball out of the hands of Aiden O'Connell in a hurry. And with the way that the Chiefs are pressing right now and still trusting L'Jarius Sneed, Trent McDuffie, these guys on the outside without a ton of safety help, I don't foresee a lot of opportunities for Aiden O'Connell to get good free, slant releases, easy buckets that he can throw to here. It's going to be contested catches. It's going to be a lot of stuff that he's going to have to place the ball exactly right. We just haven't seen it this year. And when they have to get deeper into the dropbacks, he's going to be facing all kinds of pressure from Steve Spagnuolo against a young quarterback. We've seen it time and time again. I'm not going to be surprised if they come out the same zero blitz strategy that they put up against Jalen Hurts. Just go ahead and toss it out there against Aiden O'Connell to start the game and see what happens to that man.
And it's just a huge test for Snead, too, because Aiden O'Connell will throw the ball up there for Devontae Adams to do stuff. Mm-hmm. Jimmy G wasn't doing that, and Aiden O'Connell will. So, the big test for Snead, hopefully the Chiefs don't get stubborn and not change off of that if it's not working. This is just one of those times Devontae Adams is still really good. If it's not working, please don't keep hammering that home. I don't think they will. I think they'll have a counter ready, but this is a game where it could kind of break loose. I also want to say, Aiden O'Connell likes to throw the ball over the middle of the field too, a lot. Chiefs defense has been excellent. I think the best in the NFL at defending stuff over the middle of the field. That is where they are at their best. That is where you find the least amount of success against this Chiefs defense. So it'll be interesting to see how the Raiders counter that too. I'm assuming a lot of relying on play action, a lot of relying on the run, but what they want to do is perfectly countered by the Chiefs with Snead's ability on number one wide receivers, with the Chiefs' ability to bring pressure and get pressure, and with their ability to defend the middle of the field. On paper, this is a terrible matchup for the Las Vegas Raiders that should not have a lot of success.
Devontae Adams, 11 targets a game since Aiden O'Connell kind of took over in the last 3. It's 13 the last 2 games. So, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely should. Players to watch on the defensive side of the wall for the Kansas City Chiefs. Presented by Tickets for Less. Promo code KCSN will get you the best guaranteed discount available on Tickets for Less. Go to ticketsforless.com. Use the promo code KCSN. Craig, your defensive player to watch.
Yeah, my defensive player to watch is Mike Edwards. You got to throw a lot in the middle of the field. You're going to be throwing into a lot of contested catch situations. You're going to have a guy like L'Jarius Sneed or Trent McDuffie able to get their hands in there and pop the ball in the air. Who is going to come down with it? It's Mike Edwards. I foresee a lot of opportunities for this Chiefs defense to come up with turnovers, and if they are going to throw at places and at areas of the field where Mike Edwards is, we have seen it not just this year, but throughout his career, that's bad news for the offense when that happens. I just think we're going to see a lot of sticky, tight coverage, and as long as the referees don't come in here, start calling every little hand and jersey pull that can be there for a L'Jarius Sneed, for a Trent McDuffie, I think there are opportunities for these DBs to swat the ball up into the air and good things to happen for the safety position. So I think Mike Edwards comes down with one this week.
I was legitimately going to go with Mike Edwards as a little bit of a rebound from last week in the Philly game, because he kind of gave up the 2 big completions at the end of the game, and because of the middle of the field, Aiden O'Connell, 6 interceptions already on the year. Sounds like a Mike Edwards special. So we're going to counter. We're going to go the low-hanging fruit. We're going to pull a Kent on this one and say L'Jarius Sneed. We talked about it a little bit, but this is a matchup to where, the Sneed's faced Tyreek Hill, he's faced AJ Brown, he's faced the best guys. There's no longer, you're not trying to figure out if L'Jarius Sneed can do this. I do think the Raiders and Devontae Adams, though, are one of the teams that will challenge him regardless of how well he's playing. We saw the Vikings not really give Jefferson a lot of opportunities. We saw the Eagles not really give A.J. Brown a lot of opportunities. These teams kind of said, we can do enough other stuff to still maybe think that we can win this game. One of them did, one got close. I guess they were right. I don't think the Raiders are going to think that. I think the Raiders are still going to funnel 10, 11 targets to Devontae Adams, regardless of L'Jarius Sneed being in good coverage or not. How does he fare then? Do the penalties skyrocket, or is he able to play clean? Does he make plays on the ball, or does Devontae Adams do the Adams thing? I think not necessarily a big test. I just think this is an interesting matchup because I don't think the Raiders will shy away from the targets like some other teams have.
I'll go with Drew Tranquil, another guy that could be in the middle of the field, getting into some of those passing lanes, but also like just depending on what this Raiders team does try to do, they try to pound the ball a little bit. How does Drew Tranquil hold up against the run? I mean, he's not the same kind of physical player that Nick Bolton is, but I still think he's done a really good job in the middle of that field. Oh, I think he's
stacked linemen way better. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a lot more physical. I don't think Nick Bolton likes contact is all. Like, he wants to slip blocks in a good way, but like he likes to go around them.
Yes.
I don't think he's quite as physical of a player just across the board. But that's not me criticizing him. That's just me saying, like, hey, look, you're gonna get the ball ran at you a lot probably. If that's the case, but if not, you're gonna be dropping in covers. This is a Drew Tranquil game where it's scheme dependent, like game plan dependent. He's going to have to be active. He's going to have to be involved, either in a coverage, in which if that's the case, I think he's a guy that can be the tip drill for Mike Edwards in this kind of game, getting into the passing lanes. So give me Drew Tranquil as my player to watch on the defensive side of the ball. Let's talk a little bit about the offense now. I know we have to. Obviously, like I think saw a good game plan from the Chiefs from a play calling perspective last week. I just feel like this game is this is going to be a blocking and tackling game, right? It's going to be like, let's get the basics done. Let's execute at a high level. Let's protect the football. I feel like it's going to be, and we've seen this team talk about this before. And actually, we talked about the Eric Bieniemy factor. It feels like that is something Eric Bieniemy harps on after every single loss is let's get back to the fundamentals. Let's get back to, securing the football, catching the football, getting work on those little details. This has got to be a game where they just need to not beat themselves. And so offensively, I think it's got to be an execution game. It's got to be, let's see them have a clean sheet on some stuff. Like, I think that's what they're going to aim for this week.
It's a divisional game. You're going to see this team again later in the season. You are going to not get the same level of Andy Reid game plan that I think you got last week against the Philadelphia Eagles. And so whether it looks sluggish, whether it doesn't, the team could come out, run the basics, execute well, and all of a sudden we'll say they're turning a corner. And I'm not saying that's wrong. It's just I don't think they're going to showcase a lot in this game that is going to be something you build on going forward. Maybe I'm wrong. And if they do, that tells you where they are mentally with what this offense is. If they come out and Andy Reid's giving you the business, they come out and they're giving you that upper tier stuff from the game plan, like that says they're not happy and they need to, they know they need to work it out. They don't believe that they are just going to flip a switch without testing everything out. So I got my eye on that, but I expect it to be a lot of run game, a lot of basic run stuff. I don't think you're going to see, power and counter and outside zone and the wind back and the double tight end motion runs. I think you're going to get a heavy dose of inside outside zone from Isaiah Pacheco and let this offensive line try to go to work. I think you're going to get a ton of timing stuff where they're trying to get the wide receivers and Patrick Mahomes back in sync. It's not been working, but I think they're going to try it. And so we'll see what it looks like. I wouldn't be surprised though to see a relatively mundane offensive game plan, just given who the opponent is and that they have to play them again.
Yeah, the Raiders are 20th in the league in yards per play, so the Chiefs might just look at this and just say, hey, listen, let's just be efficient. Let's just try and run basic offense, just try and pick up smaller plays. We don't got to get the vertical stuff going. We'll still continue to work on that in practice, but we can come out with a fairly basic game plan and try and do this. Yes, we see Andy do it all the time with divisional opponents. He doesn't want to tip his hand too much. He doesn't want to lay too much on the table. I don't even think, Maddie, to your point, it's not wrong, but I don't even think that Andy Reid is going to look at this team and say, okay, even though we want to get the good stuff out, I don't see them using it at all. I just really don't, even to get their confidence up. So I think they can run a lot of basic stuff. This is the side of the ball that I think has kind of transformed a little bit under Antonio Pierce. Now, that being said, still gave up over 400 yards of offense to the Miami Dolphins. Basically, every good offense that they played so far this season, they've given up over 400 yards of offense to so far, and they haven't played very many of them. They've got a couple guys that are a little bit salty. Max Crosby is just, he's a superstar. He is a potential game record. But Andy Reid has known how to take that man out of the game plan for years now. He's had experience doing that. Call some basic stuff, keep Max Crosby on his toes a little bit. And I think that this defense is right to be, just kind of run all over, short passing concepts, nothing too sophisticated, big Travis Kelce game. I just don't know that we're going to see him get deep into the bag, deep into the good A-plus game script, because I just think that he feels like they need to get back to basics. They need to just go out there and execute the most basic of things, because that's what you want to build the foundation on and go up from there.
Well, the average call sheets have been good enough for games like this too. I mean, it's been execution stuff. Now, maybe we start to recalibrate some of the mistakes that are going to get made, or they just continue to harp on fixing these things, which is what we're talking about. Basic game plan, not your A sheet, and execution's probably enough to do this. But execution has not been something that's been a strong suit for this team. They've got some issues. There's so much to be thankful for: family, friends, food, and the NFL all week long. DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping your Thanksgiving week full of action. New customers can bet just $5 on the NFL action to score 150 instantly in bonus bets. No matter your appetite, there's something for you. Money lines, parlays, props, live bets, and so much more. You name it, they've got it. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code KCSN. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL Thanksgiving action to score 150 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. With code KCSN, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 888-778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. Please play responsibly. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, must be 21 or older in most states, eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. All right. Matthew, where do you want to go with the offense next?
I mean, let's go to Mahomes. I think up until the past couple weeks before this game against the Eagles, Mahomes had been up and down. I think some people thought that it's a little bit more of like the effect of everything else is why he was playing up and down and not great. And other people thought he was a little bit more of the cause. I don't know. Coming out of the Eagles game, like it feels like he very much is being just impacted by everything else. Can he stack that in? Whether the result is the same, whether the result looks a lot better, it would be really nice to see Patrick Mahomes continue to come out like he did against the Eagles and just put the ball where it needs to go consistently. Go out there, tear up a defense. The Raiders defense has been a little bit better than I think we all thought it was going to be, but their pass coverage still isn't great. Everybody in their secondary can still be got. So, it would be nice to see Mahomes come out, play really good again against a defense that has struggled over the middle of the field, the inverse of the Chiefs. They haven't been great through the spine. Their safeties, their linebackers aren't great in coverage. So, it'd be nice to have Mahomes come out, play like he did against the Eagles, start to build back up that confidence from the rest of the offense and the fans and even themselves that, okay, maybe we didn't play great for 50 minutes. Maybe we didn't play great for 58 minutes. But when we do get that ball back with a chance to have a game-winning drive, our quarterback is still going to be good enough to get us there. Yeah, others have to step up, but he's still going to be good enough to be there. This team is only going to win if Mahomes plays great. So, let's see him play great again. I think this defense poses some interesting issues. They have some playmakers, Epps, Marcus Peters. These guys will make plays on the football. Mooring, they'll make plays on the football. They're all also gettable in coverage, so it'll be up to Mahomes to not make the lazy pass to Justin Watson in the end zone, but to make the right plays to give his guys a chance. I think a lot of eyes on him for this game for me.
Yeah, and you did mention the two other guys that they're starting there in their secondary, Meek Robertson and Nate Hobbs, who are also pretty good football players. This is not a bad secondary by any means. It's just not top shelf. And I look at this secondary and I say, yes, that I can see how they improve. I can see how they grow under this defensive coordinator, get a little bit better, especially when you got Max Crosby rushing the passer up front there. I can see how they could give these Chiefs receivers a little bit of fits. I can also see how they might decide that they want to play a little bit more man. I know that that's not Marcus Peters' necessarily cup of tea. He would rather be a zone guy with his eyes in the backfield so he can go and make plays. But this team, I feel like, can man up against these Chiefs receivers. Now, that's beneficial for Travis Kelce, but if you can bracket him with a guy like Trevon Moehrig or Marcus Epps, I think you're going to find success there. So can they go out and win? I know that we saw Patrick Mahomes coming out of the bye look a lot better. Can we see an improvement from these receivers in a bounce-back game? It has to be a bounce-back game. We talked about how they needed to start using Kadarius Toney in the pregame last week because, hey, they got to start integrating him sometime. These receivers have to step up at some point. They've got to start making plays. They've got to start making an impact. Try and do it against a cornerback group that isn't bad by any means, but can be had in the secondary.
I think I'm most interested in if they're going to catch the football. If you're making me pick between right routes and catching the football, I think the place to start is catching the football. There's still going to be some...
Why not both?
Nope, not allowed.
This is where I'm at. I mean, this is genuinely where, honestly, this is where I'm at. Let's try to get incrementally better by the playoffs, right? And I think, I'm curious because, I think what I could see is, do they try to simplify and dumb some stuff down offensively and just like we talked at the top is this a block and tackling game? Let's just execute. Let's just get things done right. Let's just let's just try to focus on the little things. Do they take some stuff out of the hands of the receivers and say let's catch the football and do things right here? I'd rather them just catch the football and just manufacture some touches for some of these guys and let's just see what happens. That's kind of where I'm at. So yeah. All right, players to watch on the offensive side of the football. Matthew, what do you got?
Oh, okay. We are coming to me first here. Alrighty. Let's go with Rashee Rice. I think he continuously gets more and more snaps. We kind of, he's once again second on the team last week in the terms of the amount of snaps he get. I think even routes run. So he's getting more opportunities. Matt Nagy gets up on the podium and talks about the fact that he's no longer a package player, that he's not limited. Again, good to hear. That lets you know that he was that point until some point. He was that until some point in the middle of the season. So Rice is getting a more expanded role. I think we've seen as his role has expanded, his efficiency has dipped a lot. And I think that lets you know kind of where he is. He's a more role-specific player right now, but I would like to see that continue to expand. Let's give him a few of these opportunities. MVS, Justin Watson, Sky Moore, these guys aren't effective in the way that they are being asked to use. Let's let Rice do more of the stuff. Even if he's not effective, it's not like the Chiefs are missing anything. So I want to see him continue to get his role kind of expanded. I'm hoping Nagy specifically mentioning him getting more run about different stuff is going to lead to that as well.
Tim, is this segment called Players to Watch?
Yes.
Okay. I'm picking both offensive tackles. If there's one player on this Raiders defense that can ruin this game, it's Max Crosby. These Chiefs offensive tackles were better against the Philadelphia Eagles, but they've still had some up and down moments. Jawan Taylor certainly been better against the pass. Donovan Smith has done some good things in the run game, but both of these guys need to be on their A game to not let this player wreck the game. I know it seems very simple and very targeted, but frankly, that's how everybody should approach this Raiders defense. Take care of that guy, and you will find time. That is easier said than done. He is an incredible player, but Donovan Smith can't have an off game. Jawan Taylor can't be in his head about the false start penalties called on him so far this season, last game especially. You can't be in that scenario against a Max Crosby because he will make your life a living hell and will make Patrick Mahomes hurt. So keep him clean, keep him upright. Both tackles have to play way better than we've seen them play at times this season.
I'm watching Sky Moore. I'm just, we are getting to a dire stretch here for him. where he needs to start getting back into the offense. He needs to get involved if he's going to find success. I mean, there's a lot of statistics. If you look at snaps versus targets in some of this production, it's just down. Even from last year, he's a less productive player than he was last year. There's some indications that statistically there's some regression to, even though he might get a few more, he might get a few more yards this year. It's not great. It's not great. So he's got to get something going here, or I think his future is very much in question. So I'm watching Sky Moore, and I'm rooting for Sky Moore. I hope he goes for 200 yards this week. I'm not trying to hammer him just entirely, but like something's got to happen. Something's got to happen quick. That is brought to you by Tickets for Less. Promo code KCSN gets you the best guaranteed discount on your Chiefs tickets. When you go to use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com. All right, let's predict the game. Craig?
Yeah, it's a divisional game. The Raiders are going to be up for this. They're going to try and play them tough. The Raiders are coming off of a performance where they played the Miami Dolphins ridiculously close, forced some turnovers. The Chiefs have not exactly taken care of the ball very well, and I don't know that it matters. I do expect that the Chiefs are going to have some turnovers. I do expect that the Raiders are going to be a little bit scrappy, especially in the second half when the Chiefs' offense can't seem to get anything going. But frankly, I just don't think that there's enough offensive firepower for this Las Vegas Raiders team to really hang with this Chiefs team. I'm predicting a defensive score as well. I think that this Chiefs team goes out, wins this one 24-10 in a game that may look a little closer than that and gets a little bit out of hand with some Chiefs defensive theatrics at the end of the game.
I think we sweat out another game and we are stuck kind of in the same spot of the Chiefs win. I think the Chiefs do win this game. I don't know if it's ever necessarily in like jeopardy, but it's similar to some games earlier in the year, whether it's the Jags or the Vikings, where the Chiefs seem like they're in control for the majority of the game, but then we get to the mid-fourth quarter and it just seems like there's no momentum or rhythm to the Chiefs offense, whereas you're just kind of waiting for the Raiders to start to put stuff together on the offensive side. I don't think it'll look pretty for either offense. I think both are going to kind of struggle, be slamming their heads up against the wall, but the Chiefs defense is clearly the best unit of this team, in this game. Patrick Mahomes is still the best player playing on the field. So I do think the Chiefs win. I think they're going to come out with the win 21-17. I just think it's going to be a game that we're kind of sweating down to the end again and a little upset come Sunday night.
I don't think this is going to be a game where I have the warm and fuzzies walking out of it. I actually am pretty close in line with where you guys are in this range. I don't think it's ever a game in question. I think the defense plays great. I think that's going to be like just the continual constant. We're going to continue to talk about a great Chiefs defense. Offensively, they're going to have their ups and downs. It's going to be really annoying. And it's going to be really frustrating. I don't expect them to get right this week. I hope that there are some moments and some players maybe that you see some more consistency that get you excited and make you believe that maybe they're starting to turn the corner. But I don't think the statistical output, I don't think the points are going to be I don't think it'll be lighting up the scoreboard. I think it's 21-10. I'll go 21-10, Chiefs win. Chiefs cover. I don't walk away feeling particularly great about it, though. That is going to do it for the game preview edition of the KC Laboratory. Thank you all so much for listening, watching. We appreciate you. We'll catch you later.